Hello, this is Greg Slozik, and I'm completing my case study for EDL 853. So the context and synopsis of the case study is it's happening in Nottingham High School, which is the single high school found within the community of Dover. Its physical building itself is quite antiquated. It was built in the 1950s, and at current time, it hosts some 3,200 students. It's estimated that the building itself, probably 25% of it, is in need of some renovations to suit the needs of all learners. And it seems that the community is pretty supportive. That they kind of go the extra mile to ensure, even with the lack of funds that have been put into the physical plant, that people seem to go above and beyond to make sure that we're in compliance with the law. So the main character in this in this case study is a young boy named Miguel Hernandez and his family. They explicitly moved to Dover because of the academic programs, as well as Miguel is a star football player. He's a sophomore and is starting quarterback for the football team. He's an outstanding athlete. During a game, which was a very important game, he wound up throwing the game-winning touchdown, and on that play, he suffered a severe spinal injury. He is going to be returning to school, but has informed the school that it would be some time and that he would be returning in a wheelchair. So upon entry back to school, after the nondescript time that he'd been away, he said he had met with his counselor, Ms. Guzman, and she had effectively told him that there would be a change of schedule with his classes. This was due to the accessibility to one bio class, which was in the 25% of the building that has not had the renovations to have the school up to standard. And so after that happened the next day, parents call a meeting with the principal, explaining that the class is indeed something that Miguel is going to need for his college aspirations, and that during this, there was a phone call from a lawyer who basically said that wanted to know if we were understanding of the rights and the laws that would be governing the situation that Miguel is in. Okay, so looking at this from the perspective of a building principal, we want to go back and reflect on what should have been done. And so I think the thing that sticks out that is quite glaring is that there seems to not have been a meeting, like a needs assessment meeting, to take a look at Miguel's overall holistic needs and to see exactly what the school needed to provide in order to maintain compliance with the law. And so I think that's the glaring thing that's quite evident, is that there seems to be a lack of communication, and this probably stems from a clear lack of having a needs assessment meeting. So how could this situation have been avoided? Well, I think obviously, like, better communication. It's fairly nondescript within the text, exactly when he gets injured and when he comes back, but it does seem as though there should have been better communication about what his classes were and where they were within the physical complex. Obviously, there need to have been a needs assessment meeting. Perhaps again an analysis of the physical plant, and to see whether or not changing his schedule would be, falling out of compliance with FAPE. And again, probably some coordination between admin counselor and the SEN department to see whether or not we could accommodate him with the wheelchair. and maybe even better knowledge of the law. Throughout some of these modules, I've noticed that there's been reference to the fact that administrators they have to play catch up to some degree. And so maybe that could have been part of the issue as well. Okay, so does Miguel qualify for services? From the research that I've done for IDEA, ADA, and 504, it's yes, yes, and yes. And I would quote, no otherwise qualified individuals with a disability in the United States, as defined in Section 720, shall solely by reason of his or her disability be excluded from the participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any program or any activity receiving federal financial assistance, or under any program or activity conducted by any executive agency or by the United States Postal Service. Okay, so I think in reading that, I think it's quite obvious that by denying Miguel access to the bio class, that this certainly fits. And looking at all three, I think it certainly fits. Are his parents entitled to a hearing? I think yes, because I think there's a clear violation of FAPE. Who's liable for injuries and his speedy recovery? I think this is a bit of an unknown for me. Again, I'm working outside the context of U.S. public schools, and so in international schools, it's not quite as litigious, obviously, as the United States. And so I tried to poke around today with teachers who have recently worked in the United States, and I kind of got a general consensus that we don't know. And so I'm going to leave this one with, I really don't know. So if I was a principal, who would I contact following the call with the attorney and parents? I think the first person I would generally reflexively think to call would be the superintendent, just to inform them that there could be the potential of a 504 violation, and that I would not want he or her to be kind of blindsided by this. They would need to be informed that this has happened, and that I would be trying to get through this as thoroughly and expeditiously as possible. And then contact the remainder of my administrative team and the school counseling office, just so that way you can start collecting data and ensure that everything that needed to be covered was covered. Would I meet with Miss Guzman? Yes, I think you'd have to, because the schools is in violation of FAPE, and we would need to rectify the situation. I don't think that there's an option of inaction in this. I think that there's a clear violation, and that we would have to figure out a way to accommodate as quickly as possible. So again, I think that Miguel is entitled to fair access, and that the school would need to accommodate this need as expeditiously as possible. What could be some of the ways in which this could be done? Possible venue change for the bio class. I'm sure that the biology teacher would not find this to be the best decision. But again, I think that this would be an opportunity to revisit the fact that 25% of the school needs upgrades. If you look at 3,200 students in one physical building, that's quite a bit. And so I would tend to think that this would not have been the first time that something like this would have happened, and maybe this would be a good opportunity to have that conversation of, hey, this is the time that we need to get into compliance. And those are my references, and thank you so much for watching.